Hello, hello, hello. It's me, Sean Bischoff, General Manager of Triumph, and you are now entertained by the episode number 4 of Triumph's podcast, Together. Still working out the intro for the show. Thank you guys for joining us this episode. We have a very cool guest today. But before we get into the actual show, I'm going to do the good old bait and switch that every podcaster does. And I'm going to remind you to go check out advanced.gg on the internet. If you use Mozilla Firefox like Cultured Man, type in advanced.gg, go to their website, check out the products, use code Triumph for 10% off. It's pretty good stuff. I recommend using it. They support us. You support them. You support us. Thank you. Today's episode, I am joined and flanked by, well, how can I describe this man? He's a North American legend, I would say, in the Counter-Strike community. As he describes himself, he's a propagandist. He is the founder of RushB Media and a Counter-Strike aficionado, Ryan Friend, and he is here today to talk CS. Ryan, what's up, buddy?
Hey man, how you doing? Yeah, I'd love to talk some CS. I appreciate that aficionado, founder, all that kind of stuff. I think that best describes who I am and what I do. So I appreciate that. Not many people fully know exactly what it is that I do. I don't even know what I do.
It's funny because I know you because of your Twitter presence and not necessarily because of RushB. So I guess that your activity on social media has actually done its job correctly because of you memeing all day and shitposting. I found out about what you actually do.
Yeah, I think that's been a way that I've been able to somehow reach a lot of people, and I at first wanted to just be incredibly professional when I started doing it. I wanted to make my Twitter feed very professional. And then I realized that being very professional isn't actually very fun. And so then I decided to just try having fun. And I think that's worked out for me.
Yeah, I try to be like funny and I try to shitpost sometimes, but I'm not very good at it, to be honest.
It's a skill. It's a skill that you have to you have to live on the internet to fully understand.
Yeah, I think so. I think our producer Chase, he I think he's a fellow shitposter, so I think you guys have a lot to connect.
There we go.
But yeah, man, I think aficionado's fair. I think you cover a lot of bases in the CS community. I think people go to you to find out information, generally speaking. Would you consider yourself a journalist though? Actually, what would you consider yourself in the title, man?
No, I think that's very good. It's really hard, right? Because a journalist in the general sense, sure. Yeah. If everyone that can write a story is a journalist, I don't like to use that term because I have no formal journalistic training. I never went to school for it, kind of been picking it up as it goes. I've tried to learn from a lot of different people. Jacob Wolf is one person that I've been talking to, and whenever I've had genuine questions or concerns, I've always reached out to him to fully understand what can I do better when I am handling serious things, because I tend to feel myself in 2 categories, right? On one hand, I break roster news and I cover what goes on. And so when I'm being very serious, when I'm doing those very serious things, I think there's a reputation that I have for handling that. That's pretty established. It's pretty well. And people know that when I am taking something seriously, I do it with the utmost respect for it. But also at the same time, I make a lot of jokes. I constantly have my Twitter profile as even fake profiling other Twitter profiles just for the joke. And it's that kind of, and I'm an unabashed fan of a team. And you can't do those things if you're going to be a serious journalist. And so that's why I think a blogger, podcaster, aficionado is a much better term of it. And yeah, so that's how I kind of see it, I guess. When there's news to be handled seriously, I will handle it seriously. And I will always do that, but I can't be serious 100% of the time. It's just way too boring.
Yeah, no, I see where you're coming from. I mean, to be honest, I always talk about this, and maybe this is too big of a topic to even touch on today, but really the internet's changed everything. So you can't just be one thing on the internet anyway. I think it doesn't work. I think a lot of the structures of journalism stuff have kind of broken down with the advent of having constant access and limitless access to information. So, whatever, dude, journo, aficionado, propagandist, founder, whatever, you have to be a lot of things in this industry, especially, right? So tell me about RushB. When did you found RushB? I mean, I checked up. You guys have obviously you have a website, you have a podcast, you do articles, of course. So tell me, how did that start and when did it get founded?
So I started the podcast back in October 2017. I started watching Counter-Strike in 2016. but my first introduction to esports was like 2008 with Halo 3, like straight ripping and all that. So I was like super into that, and then kind of fell off as I got into high school, and then college kind of found CS again, or not again, found CS kind of like for the first time, and then started watching. I liked it, and then I moved to a new city after graduating college, and I was like, well, I have all this free time now that I don't do schoolwork at night, and I like to talk a lot. So what if I just did a podcast? So I started it that way. And then through contacts that I made, one of them being Mel, who is the French journalist for 1PV, who's a great friend of mine. He helped me get to the Boston Major to do interviews for the podcast, which was incredible. So I did that. And then kind of after that, I made a lot of contacts, and that's when I started getting insider information. And once I did that, I realized I need a website to publish this information. And so it started off as I wanted to just kind of do it like a Barstool kind of thing, where we can write jokes, joke articles, have somewhat serious analysis, but like not try and take ourselves too seriously, because HLTV does too. And a lot of these other sites already control that market, right? Like they're sites that you go to when you're really looking for like straight up news, right? No one goes to HLTV looking for jokes. Everyone goes to HLTV for the serious news. So I kind of wanted to handle it like that. And yeah, and then it's just kind of progressed from there. We've had like a rotating staff. I've started to like really just try and find unknown artists, and then like unknown writers, and bring them together to get noticed. I know like we've had people go on to HLTV. We've had people now working for G2 Esports. We've had people working for everything. Our former editor-in-chief is now like helping produce one of Portugal's like leading esports networks. Like and that to me gives me so much joy of being able to find people that just might not have the home or might not have the exposure that they need. And through just a volunteer system of where I don't make any money from RushB. I make zero money from any of this, which all the money that gets generated from any sales of like the merch or anything else, that literally goes straight back into hosting fees. And then when we do have money left over, offering it to pay for travel for writers when they go off to events and stuff like that. Really, like, I just want to be a launching pad for like everyone else. And I like fully know that, and fully like am excited for when someone's like, hey, I have a full-time offer now. Can I take it? I'm like, absolutely, go. Like, go get paid. Like that, go get your money. Like that's what we're supposed to do. So yeah, so that's the case there. And then the podcast hasn't been active in a bit since I've been taking I've been busy with my out of esports life. I'm a financial analyst. So that takes up a considerable amount of time, and that's been taking up a lot of time as of this last year. So while I can still be active on Twitter and still do reports, getting down and sitting down and doing a podcast has been hard for me to do.
Yeah, it's hard to set aside a lot of time to do projects like that. Yeah, no, that's cool. I didn't know, like, I wasn't sure when you guys were founded or what. Like, I thought you were like a co-founder when you started RushB. Was it basically just you, or did you basically start it with a group of guys at the time?
I started it as me, and I basically was like, hey, do you guys want to write for me? Mm-hmm. And it was like, yeah, sure, whatever. And it was kind of just like that. It was like, this is my project, mine and mine alone. And so anything that gets pushed out with RushB is like my name, my reputation, which I kind of want it to be like. And because it goes both ways. One, like, I've started this, I pushed my whole name, I put a lot of time and energy into this. Like, I want the brand recognition and respect it gets, but also it protects younger writers when they mess up. Right. And if they say something wrong or do something, then it gets kind of put onto me, which is helpful because I don't want younger writers that don't have a lot of exposure to get like unfairly just like destroyed, right, because they make one mistake. And whereas me, I've been able to take hit after hit because I have screwed up and I've apologized and I've accepted it and I've learned and I moved on. But I can like keep taking those if it means that sometimes these younger writers who I know have like a good head on their shoulders, if they can just keep yelling.
Yeah, no, I dig that. It's good to have it. Like, I think in media, it's rare to find like jump off platforms, and it's super valuable. Probably. I guess I never think about writers and like how hard it is to break into like having a real job as a writer, getting an opportunity for a large publisher or something, or a large website nowadays. But yeah, having something like RushB where, you know, writers who are new, who really want to like have an opportunity to to write freely and do something that they really want to do without like having to deal with the backlash and having like, you know, what would the term be, like, you know, creative freedom in a way.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's it. It's like I want everyone to like come up with, like, I'll pose questions sometimes to be like, hey, can someone write something about this? Like, I want someone to write an article about this, or I'll just assign it. I'll just be like, hey, can you do this? Get it to me in like 2 weeks. Like, let's see what we can create here. Like, let's see this cool, fun thing. Mm-hmm. And I've had people be like, oh, I wrote this article similarly, or someone else wrote this similar article. I was like, okay, are they wrong? And if they are, can you say it in a way without being an asshole? But like, can you say it? And can you create an interesting perspective? Like, there's this weird thing where people are like, oh, if someone's already touched something, I can't touch it. Yes, you can. You're your own person. You have your own like perspective. Everything is going to be different. Obviously, don't straight up copy them and say the exact same thing. That's not worth it. But if it's slightly different, if you have a slightly different angle, like, go say it. Who knows? Maybe someone else says, oh yeah, I was thinking about that too. And that's what I really, really want from this, is like, when you shine and show your individuality in the writing, then you get a lot more opportunities, because people look at it and say, oh, that's wicked cool. I'm so glad I saw that. Can you do these other things? And that's really what kind of motivates me with RBM. Yeah,
it's powerful stuff, dude. I didn't realize you were the shepherd of the next generation of esports writers. No, it's good. I think it's really healthy. Yeah, I think it's a great place to be. And I know it's hard, like when you're doing work like that, it's hard to find out how to monetize it even. But yeah, I think it's really important work. So that's cool, man. Speaking of RushB, was it RushB's idea? I mean, I don't know if it was your idea or if it was someone else's idea. Can we talk about Mustache Masters?
Yeah,
last weekend it went awesome, it seemed like.
Oh my God, it was incredible.
So you guys raised Mustache Masters. You'll have to, I'll let you give me your pitch and what it is, because it's your baby. But you guys raised $26,000 last week for men's health and mental health awareness. Like, dude, and that broadcast was awesome, dude. Can you tell me about how Mustache Masters started last year?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is the brainchild of Mike Winnick and Christopher Palick. Mike Winnick is Darth Mike. Christopher Palick is Pluro. Those guys they threw around this idea in the beginning of 2019 of wanting to do a charity event for Movember, and they wanted to know what to do. We all moved into a house together in June of 2019. So we all became roommates then. And it was then that they kind of introduced me into the project. Mike, what he does is he's a caster. He's a freelance caster. He casts MDL. He casts a bunch of other events. He's leaning into Valorant and doing stuff. So if anyone wants to hire him, also Darth Mike, he does it full time too, which is incredible. Big ups to him. He went full time when we all moved into this esports house together. So he does the casting. He does a lot of like marketing and reach out. Pluro, Chris, he is our shepherd. He is the one that is like the big tournament operations, knows how to handle this. He's reached out to sponsors. He's like a major, like, I know what I'm doing. You go do these things. And sometimes I don't listen to him, and sometimes I get yelled at. And then we have Griffin, who is our producer. And Griffin, like, without him, none of this would even happen. So we all we're all co-founders of the Mustache Masters, which is going to be soon recognized as an official charity, independent of Movember. So it's not going to be just a Movember charity. It's its own independent charity, which is going to lead us to a lot of different awesome opportunities and flexibility to do different things, which I think is amazing. And we started that in 2019. We ran the first event. We raised over $10,000. And once we did that, we realized that we actually had something that could be really big. And we ran that event when it was during no COVID, when there were LAN events that were happening, and there was only one event that we were going up against. I think it was like a DreamHack or something. Mm-hmm. So we ran that, and getting the 10,000 and getting the viewership that we did and having the consistent like minutes watched and all that was amazing. So we were like, this is going to happen again. We're going to do this. And the long-term goal is that we're going to try and make it a LAN event, but
that'd be cool.
See what happens. So do all that, come to this year. Because of COVID, things were a little hectic. I wasn't able to be as committed as I was in a lot of things, which definitely hurt our ability to do separate things. But we all came together in the end to really like bring this thing up. which was awesome and exciting. And we had our pre-show, which was like for 3 hours, and we talked all about like men's mental health and made that very specifically men's mental health. And then the actual event of all the amateur teams and even some semi-pro teams coming together to do this was awesome. It was great too. We had like whalers going ahead and like doing Zeus's and knives because their coach was like, I'll do $25 for every Zeus and knife that my team does. And at the end, he had to pay $680, which is great. And then we had a $10,000 donation from Dirt Street Gamers, which was incredible. They're a fantastic company to have worked with. They're a major Philadelphia-based tournament organizer. They do a lot of different events for different organizations. And then Steve Dudenhofer, who was one of the guys that was part of the coach cheating demo reviewers. He donated, I think, over like $3,500. So those guys,
wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, so those guys, without them, we would not have been able to get to where the 26 that we were. But yeah, just a charity CS:GO event that continues to happen every year, and we are already picking out dates for the next year. We're already picking out ideas and talking to other sponsors and figuring out what we can do, because I think. I don't think that we really realized with COVID, we thought it wasn't going to be as successful. I was very worried. I didn't think we were going to get past 10,000 even. Just with people having trouble financially and stuff like that. And then to see 26 happen, which blows our 20K goal out of the water. It was like, okay, like this is like if we didn't think that it was really serious after year one, now we know that this is like really, really this is really something that we need to be taking seriously, because we're building a movement. We're building a real movement to talk about men's mental health, which has been a thing that everyone in CS has been talking about. Everyone in CS has been wanting to talk more about men's mental health. So I think for us to be able to kind of answer that call and be able to stand up and say, yeah, this is what the statistics are. These are the information. And not even just men's mental health, like physical health, all these kinds of things. Like, that's important. So I'm glad that we're doing that. But yeah, I help out with just publicity and marketing and getting teams in. And I really want to give credit to Darth Mike and to Pluro, because those two are the guys that came to me and said, we have this idea. This is what we're doing. And I don't think that they get enough recognition. So I'm trying to make sure that like whenever people are like, oh yeah, this is RyanAtRBM's thing, I'm like, no, I was brought in. I'm a co-founder. I am equal, but it was their idea originally.
Yeah. Sorry we couldn't play in that. We really wanted to. I'm a big fan of charity events, like esports charity events, and I think that the cause for Mustache Masters is great. But we had IEM that weekend. And
I know. I mean, there are sometimes you just can't avoid things. Like even Whalers, they had IEM, but like the grouping just worked out that they could play. So it was like just all around, like there were some things that came together with it that really were awesome, and some things just couldn't happen. And that's just the way it is sometimes.
Yeah, and I mean, still, it was a huge success, man. Like,
oh yeah,
I think you guys did so great on year two. Do you guys think that the next one will be in November? Or like, I know you said that it doesn't have to be necessarily a No Shave November kind of scheme, but are you guys still looking to do it the same time every year? Or are you probably going to move it to a different time of year?
I think we're going to try and do it in the same time of the year next year. I think right now the major for 2021 is planned for November 1st through November 14th. So we're going to do it our tentative plan is to do it that weekend after. So like the weekend of the 21st. So we'll see. But that's our plan for right now, is that we want to make it about Movember, which is about men's health and the Movember organization. That's where all the money will end up going. We'll always be donating towards the Movember organization, because they have the facilities and the abilities to do all the outreach and to do all the conversational pieces and to look at all the health effects and things like that. So we are still going to be having all of our money go there. It's just now becoming our own independent charity event. We can now start really like, the other thing is we've put a lot of our own money into it. So it's equipment, it's studio, this other stuff. And by not being a formal recognized charity, we're not able to take a small percentage of the donations that would help continue to run our operations. Because like for now, it's fine. Like we did it out of our house the first time. And the second year we did it out of, and for the second year we did it out of a friend's house. So both times we don't actually have studio like costs, but say for the third year, because we were having so many people, like we might need to get a studio. And studios are not going to run cheap if we need to get it for a whole weekend. So becoming a formal recognized charity, we're able to kind of compensate our costs so that we can keep doing this year after year, because that's really what we want to be able to do.
Yeah, I mean, it should be. It needs to happen eventually. You can't be in your guys' like house forever.
Yeah.
No, I see. I understand the Movember thing now. I think it's great. I personally, you know, one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on, Ryan, to talk about Mustache Masters, because I was so impressed by it. Because I do agree with you, and I think that you know, men's mental health in esports is a huge problem. Like, you know, we don't have to make the whole show about this, but like I've always said, it's a huge issue. I've worked with teams for years. Like at the team level, like when you're working with people that are competing in games, there's so much like stress, and it's such a huge issue that people don't. I think people talk about it nowadays. Like I think people are talking about men's mental health a lot now, which is phenomenal. But I don't think that people really know how to handle it. Like, I don't think people really know what to do or what resources to put into place to help solve the problem or relieve the issue. And so like fighting for something like that, I think is really good, especially in our space. I think it fits perfectly what you guys are doing with that.
I think the biggest problem is that like people forget, like these kids are like 19. They're like 19.
There's a lot on their shoulders, man.
Like imagine being 18, 19 and just how much of an idiot you were then. Like when you're 16, you think that like 18-year-olds have it all together. And then you get to 18, you think that 20-year-olds have it all together. And then when you're 20, you think that 22-year-olds have it together. No one has it together.
Yeah.
Like, and especially at that young age where you're playing at events, you have hundreds of thousands of people watching you. Like you have people telling you the worst possible things in your DMs. You have people making snap judgments about you. Like it's so awful. Like so much pressure. I imagine it at 18, if I had 5 random people telling me that I suck, I'd just be like, okay, I'm done forever. I'm quitting. Like, how are we expecting these literal children who cannot vote in elections? Like they're not actual adults under the law. They get so much pressure put on them. And it's like, what are we doing? Why we're expecting that we can just do all of this and no kid is going to be like, wow, this is crazy. But I get really nervous now when I'm in a big crowd of people. Or, oh my God, I'm getting really nervous whenever I'm going to sit down and play because there are tens of thousands of people watching me. And they tell me how much money they have on me. It's like, it's wild. Yeah. And then you have, okay, we're going to go do event after event. We did the event on this last weekend. Okay. So first of all, just to also say, we were at the event. We did not wear masks, but we had gloves available. We had masks available, and we had and people were hand sanitizing. The other reason for that was we had everyone make sure that they handed in a negative COVID test 72 hours before they were allowed to enter into. So we were being very safe, and everyone's getting tested again actually right now because you got to do the follow-up, you know. But I did that event. I was tired for like I'm still tired. I'm still burnt out from that event. Like I'm exhausted. Like I had to do my job and I was like, nope, you're not getting it from me today. I'll see you tomorrow. We'll try again tomorrow. I was like, and we're expecting these kids with the high pressure of having to know all of these different things. They're supposed to be expected to play like 5, 6, 7 hours a day, do it all over again, and then just keep doing it over and over again. It's like these kids are going to get burnt out. You know that they're going to get burnt out. You know it. We know it. We see it. Astralis players went ahead and were like, yeah, you know, I'm sick. I'm physically ill because of how much I'm playing. And everyone's like, oh, yeah.
It's a real problem, man. It's a real problem. I've seen it so many times just in my own teams, man. Like, I think people don't realize the amount of pressure on these young guys. Like, you're talking teenagers, some players. I mean, we have players on our team. We have Penny on our team. He's 17. You have a player, and he's playing in the IEM Beijing Grand Finals for, you know, $35,000 an international LAN invite. And it's not even a LAN event, dude. Like, if you're at a LAN event with hundreds of thousands of dollars online and you have the brand that's on your shirt on your shoulders in a way, like you have to carry your brand. This, like, these $1 million companies, you have teams like Cloud9, you know, publicly saying, yeah, we're paying this guy $1 trillion and he's going to be the future of our company for the next, and, you know, these kids, like, it would be bad enough for the average person anyway to put that pressure on their shoulders. But when you're talking about and a 17, 18, 19-year-old that's like also antisocial, like everyone is nowadays, that's growing up on the internet all day. It's like, it's a lot, man. I've seen people break down. And so the question is like, how do we get the resources in place to help these people, deal with the pressure? Because some players, there's no pressure, but still, I just think like being online all day and playing, practicing your game 12 hours a day or whatever, 6-7 days a week, it's a lot. It's very easy to burn out. And so mental health awareness in esports is a huge issue, maybe the largest medical problem that we face. So definitely like having charities like yours, I think it's a really good piece to the puzzle.
Yeah, and I'm really excited that we're able to do this year after year, and I'm really excited for the partners that we've been able to have to help us. Like HyperX was huge this year. They gave us a lot of gear to do giveaways for. Obviously, Nerd Street and ESEA, like these guys are helping us out with equipment and with servers. Like being able to see these companies come together and supporting the good cause is incredibly helpful and rewarding, and it only just like makes you more motivated to be like, oh yeah, people are listening. Like we can go do this. So yeah.
Yeah, you guys should ask Nerd Street if you can get an office in the new Philly location, man. I'm not joking. I think they'll do it.
Well, we have what is it? We have whatchamacallit? Griffin. He works for Nerd Street, so he's an employee there. So he has his own center. But I think it might be a little bit hard for all of us to have our own office in that new center. I'm excited though. I'm excited for it. We did a Fragadelphia in there, which was really exciting. And I think it's like a few months away because of COVID. It got delayed a little bit. Yeah. But the LAN center looks amazing. I'm so excited really cool. for it.
We had our first guest on the podcast was my friend Christian, who runs their social media. He also runs a lot of their actual events. You've probably seen him at Fragadelphia or something. Yeah, he was telling me about it. And they're trying to put resources like actual health resources, mental health resources in the center. So
yeah,
I don't know, just a thought, dude. I don't know.
I'll say, I'll bring it up. I'll tell John Fazio.
Yeah, talk to Johnny. Yeah, man, it's just so cool. I was so blown away. $26,000. I guess next year your goal has to be like 50,000 or somewhere. You guys gonna do?
I think our goal for next year. Might be 25 or 30. I want to do I want to keep it realistic. It's funny because we said 20 and then we got 26 and I'm blown away. And it's like, I still don't even think like if we did 20 next year, we would still get it. And that's just the pessimist in me of like, I don't think we're going to get that because I can't fully wrap my hands around the fact that like we raised $26,000. Like this is huge. It's so much money that we raised. And I'm just having trouble kind of wrapping my head around the fact that we were able to even do that. So 50,000 to me is like so much. We'll see. Maybe let's get to June. Maybe we'll talk to some corporate partners, see what they can do.
I don't think 50,000 is out of the question. I know what you mean though. Like you want to keep raising your goal, and ultimately you're going to get what you're going to get based on how you promote and how, you know what I mean? But I don't think it's that outrageous, man. I mean, obviously this year, like Nerd Street came in pretty hot with the 10K donation. And like it is in generally when you're raising money for charities, usually you have like a few companies or people come in and give like the bulk of the money. But like it'll keep happening, dude. Yeah. Like it'll keep happening. If you guys do what you did this year and you keep doing it just a little bit better, it'll keep happening, dude. 100%.
The thing that I'd like to see more that I think I'm going to really try and push for is talking with a lot of teams to have them make even small matching financial donations. I think it is the best way that we can go about it because not every team can participate, right? I'll just say this: we invited and we talked to Team Liquid. They were originally very interested in participating, but for them, they were saying, this is a weekend that we have scheduled off, and we need off for our team, and we don't want to play because people have things to do, and also take a break, which we totally respect. What I think be good is if I was able to talk with more teams and basically say, listen, I understand if you can't play, but we would really appreciate if you did we'll do a $250 matching donation right now in the next 30 minutes. Like 30 minutes, get donations in, we'll match up to $250 like right in this spot and make it like a Triumph Gaming matching donation time. Like, kind of do those kinds of like imaginative things as a way to encourage more people to donate, but also get teams that maybe couldn't participate involved in at least in it and having them be part of the conversation. I want to see more and more development of the community involved in this and not making it seem so much like we're putting on and we're doing the show and you just donate. I want to see more like active partners and have more conversations. So I think more like year-round programming might be something that we do, because that way we can keep the conversation going about Mustache Masters, and we can keep eyes onto our event charity so that when the time comes, boom. Like even right now, it's still November. It's the 22nd as we're recording this. Like our page, our donation page is still open. So
you can still go donate right now.
You can still go donate right now to the Mustache Masters on November. But it's like things like that. Like we do the one event, but that doesn't mean that you like have to donate. Like I had someone be like, "Oh, is the donation still open?" It's like, yeah, it's going to be open the whole month of November. Like do it whenever you can. Like some people just couldn't get paid and they wanted to donate. And I was like, just donate later if you want to. Donate if you're so worried about money and you can't donate now and you're working paycheck to paycheck. It's okay. You don't have you also don't have to. Like you don't have to be obligated to donate. Like you can have the conversation. The ways that you can focus on it is like saying, hey, let me reshare this article that I really found about men's mental health, or let me share my own experience, or let me talk to someone and see if they're okay. And then that way we can really kind of keep a conversation going.
Yeah. I think that's a good move. I also think, obviously the previous 2 years that you did the main event, you guys are basically doing all of the content, obviously. Yeah. You and your very small team. And so maybe even teams that maybe can't even play, just like, for instance, North American teams, even EU teams, maybe you can ask Astralis, I don't know, see what they're up to. Maybe doing content, promoting it a little bit.
Yeah, we wanted to do that. It just got really hard kind of towards the crunch of the main event.
Yeah. You'd have to plan it really far ahead, I think.
I think that's what we're learning now, is that like the planning for next year's event starts now. Yeah. Like we're already getting the date. We're already going to start figuring out where we can do it. And we're going to start, like, I'm going to start working with sponsors and advertisers to be like, okay, we need to talk about like next year's event. We need to start doing this now. We need to really like focus on how we can do this better. And like my personal goal is that in June, all that we have to really figure out is establish the studio and to figure out and maybe do last minute like team signups. But like I want like content. I want the people done. Like I want to get this like done so far in advance that when we have it, we can make it like the best run executed show. And so it's like a lot of work that like we did in the last few months. I want to do like immediately.
Yeah. I think you do have to start playing like right away, dude. Like the first thing that comes to mind, and I don't know, you can use this idea. I won't charge you for it, of course.
Ooh, I like that.
You could do like, obviously you want pro teams like Liquid, like Triumph. It feels weird calling us pro team, you can also talk to EU teams, whatever. If they can't play, like you can maybe ask them to do some sort of video, like the team talking about mental health awareness, men's mental health, and
that's a really good idea.
Yeah, and then just like have that be promo roles, you know what I mean, for the show, so you can hype up the show with professional teams that are showing support for you guys, probably also donating, but like at the very least showing their support for the event that you guys are going to run, and the donations that you guys need. I think that's a good move. But that's going to take, like, you have to plan that really far ahead of time. Probably start talking to teams about that now.
Yeah, I think so. And then hopefully we can really get this going, and then I'll probably do like immediately after a major, go forward and like have it like immediately after the major, have a whole week of just like the content coming out, really hyping it up, boom, pre-show, boom, the event, and everyone's just like, yeah, let's go. So
yeah, it'll be good, man. It'll get bigger every year, I promise you.
Oh, hope so.
It will, dude. Don't stop doing it. It's really good, man.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I really do.
I want to compliment you on your Colossus sweater. I think I touched on it before we started the show.
Thank you.
Do you want
to talk about it? Do you want to talk about my affinity for Cloud9? Do you want to talk about?
Yeah, what's your deal with Cloud9, dude? I feel like you're the biggest Cloud9 fan of all time. What's going on?
I think I am. So that's what's so funny is that I didn't really have a team pre-major. I liked Liquid. I always wanted to support NA. So in 2016, I saw like the majors and all the events. I had like, there was Simple who was on Liquid, and I was like, yeah, this is cool. Like Liquid's cool, but I never really had a team. And then when I saw Cloud9 win the major, I was like, okay, done. Like, this is it. Let's go. And it's fun. Like, it's fun to root for a team. It's fun to have a team that you root for, which is successful and then can fail and then can be successful again. It's fun to go through a whole team, have an affinity, be a fan, feel the emotions as the team goes through whatever they do. It is not fun to just not have that. Like, there isn't the emotional involvement. Like, what are you doing? In all honesty, like, why are you?
If you don't have a team that you're rooting for,
yeah. If you don't have a team, you're just like watching Counter-Strike. It's like, great that you love to watch Counter-Strike, but what gets you to want to like feel the rise of emotion when you see a play? Like, yeah, there are cool plays and there's great stuff, but like, you want these guys to succeed because they're repping a brand that you really like. And I mean, I don't disagree with everything that Cloud9 does, but that's also kind of part of the conversation too. It's that like, I can go ahead and be like, yeah, I think it was really fucking stupid when they did some certain roster moves. Or I think the entire time after the major for like 2 years, like, what were they doing? Like, they didn't do anything. They just let things slide away and they let it die. So it's being able to kind of like have that nuanced, honestly, have a nuanced opinion about it because you watch the team, you know them so damn much. That it's kind of fun to have that. So that's why I am it. That's why I do it. And you just kind of grow and learn and love the team as it is. I think I like them a bit. And then when people are like, you're a big Cloud9 fanboy, I just kind of like played into it. I was like, hell yeah. Absolutely.
It helps because they kind of back you up on Twitter and stuff. They kind of feed into it.
I know all the social media managers at this point. Like, I just shit talk with them all the time. They're like, hey, do you have any good meme ideas? I'm like, yeah, I got this. And they're like, okay, this is one that we can't post, but you should post. I'm like, okay, yeah, I got you.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. They're feeding you the memes, dude. It's like a big conspiracy. I didn't know you were at the center of the Cloud9 conspiracy circle.
You know, I'm the center of the Cloud9 social media conspiracy of memes. That's what I do. That's who I am.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. Like, I used to be a fan of like, I used to at any given time have like one team that I was rooting for. And generally when like, you know, I'm watching a tournament, I root for one team. But now in my position, it's like, I have to be a lot more democratic because I obviously have an organization, I have a team. So like, I can't really talk, you know, too favorably about anybody other than ourselves, you know, in a way, you know, like I can't be like, man, Cloud9 is the best team. I love everything. It's like, you know, Triumph's better, you know, like I have to be a little bit more democratic when I look at all these organizations and these teams. But yeah, I mean, it's part of the thing that made sports so great, that makes sports great today. People love, you know, in competition, rooting for one side. I mean, it just is the way that we are. So it's tribal. It's tribal. Yeah. It's what you're doing to find the community that you do. And so for me, it's great to kind of just dig in and like, and it's also so funny when I get to like just shit talk with Brazilians. Oh my God. That is, I don't understand. I don't know how exactly it happened that I just started like me in Brazil just became a thing, but like, it's almost just innate at this point. I checked my Twitter. I have like 15% of my followers are from Brazil. Like, it's just a huge number. That's so huge of a number to have from a foreign country that has to click Google Translate on every single one of your tweets to like know what's going on. And I know, because I know a few of the memers there, but it really was like, I like Furia. I've seen Furia for a long time, and like they were in advance, they like grinded up through all the ESEA ranks to go into Pro League. So I've always liked those guys. I've always been a fan of them. And to kind of have like that banter relationship where I like Brazil teams, I like Brazil as a country, I love these guys, but it's so funny just to make fun of them. It's so funny, dude. I like how you've avoided saying that you like MIBR. I don't. I don't like it. I have, listen, I can't. I like Furia because I've seen them grind up through it. You can't like the best team. It's not fun to like the best team. You can't, if you like the best team, when you like them when they were not the best team, like when they were like out of the top 20, great, sure, you win. Like, you earn that. Like, that's the thing that I'm hoping with Cloud9. Like, I've had them when they're at their worst. And if they get to be number one in the world, I deserve everything. I deserve all the ability to just tell everyone in the world, I am the best. I am the greatest. Because that's part of being a fan. MIBR, I just,
like they're a fine. I don't have a negative feeling about MIBR. That's the thing. It's not, I don't like them, but I don't dislike them. They're just kind of there for me. But to make fun of MIBR so that you see all the fans just go crazy is the only reason that I make jokes about them is just for that fan reaction. And it sucks too because TRK was on them and I really like TRK. He unfollowed me because I think I made too many jokes about MIBR, which totally understand, totally valid reason to unfollow me. Like, if you don't like my content, totally unfollow me. Like, I don't hold anything against him. I'm just like, that's a casualty of like what sometimes happens when you're trying to like toe the line between respect, like be respectful of the team, be respectful of the players, and do everything right. But also like, there's a community that you want to engage in and have jokes with. And it's kind of towing that line, which is very hard. Another good example is like when VSM was signed by MIBR, obviously I made the joke between like MIBR signing a guy who has a VAC on his record. And they also accused Chaos players of cheating.
It's funny, dude.
It's funny. It's funny, right? It's funny. But I had a number of actual like Brazil. I had a few Brazilian players and a few Brazilian like personalities. They actually like reached out to me. They're like, "Hey man, what are you doing? Like, be respectful." And I was like, "Okay." Well, I was like, "Whoa, hold on. Let's hold on. Like, am being respectful. Like, nothing against VSM. I too think that he should be unbanned, which we can also talk about, like VAC bans and all that stuff. But like, totally respectful of him. This is just for like the joke reaction of like the fans. But knowing that and seeing that, there's things I have to take away from that interaction of, okay, how could I have phrased it better to make it more about the fans and less about the person itself?
Right.
And because I never want to make a joke that makes a player, and it kind of goes back to like the men's mental health. These players are already under a lot. I don't want to make a joke about like someone unless they like totally deserve it. But if it's just like a happen of circumstance, you know what I mean? It's like no unnecessary undue criticism or jokes at their expense have to be made.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Like sometimes I want to make jokes like you make, you know. I think that's why, you know what I realized you are, Ryan? You're a provocateur. That's what you are, dude.
Yes, I'm a very good provocateur.
I think the reason that provocateurs like yourself are valuable is because you're saying the shit that everyone wants to say. It's stuff that's funny, stuff that is amusing, but like people are just like towing the line of not wanting to say it. Like the stuff about like the example that you give, we'll just use that example of like, okay, they signed somebody that's VAC banned, whether or not it's deserved, whether or not, you know, you should, forgive people for mistakes in their past or whatever, like years later. The joke is there. It's like the universe wrote that joke for you.
Right.
Like,
exactly.
Like MIBR was like talking about cheaters. All the Brazilian fans are accusing NA teams like Chaos, specifically Chaos, of cheating. And then they signed somebody who's been accused of cheating. I mean, it's literally like, it's beautiful poetry, dude. It's like, it's the stuff that something the universe gave you, and you have to acknowledge it because it is so funny. And this, in this example, as well as many others of things that you want to bring up. But you don't want to attack the people involved, right? It's like, it's more about like the fandom or the ether. It's not really about the people involved, and you don't want to like hurt them or make it seem like you want to hurt them, because you don't, you know what I mean? And it's a fine line that you have to walk. And I think that one thing I think about the Brazilian fan base a lot, because we actually have a lot of Brazilian fans, Triumph does, and we appreciate all of you. I don't know any Portuguese, so I'm not going to attempt to say thank you or anything, but the Brazilian fan base in CS seems to be like really passionate, right? I think that's how everyone describes them. Yeah. It's like, if you see Gauls is like, he has 300,000 viewers on his stream. Like whenever he streams a MIBR, Fury match, anything, they're really passionate, man. And like, they'll come for your head. But I also think that there's a big communication problem, like a language barrier. Yeah.
It's really hard because I think what's good now is that I've endured months, probably over years of it, of just like being that provocateur of Brazilian fans. And I know so many of the guys that meme and joke and stuff like that. Like Memes HLTV, I have a good relationship with him. Being able to have that kind of relationship and going ahead and making sure that I only attack the organization don't attack the players, they can start to understand that like I'm joking. Like this is a joke. It's not intentional. Like I'm being mean to you. It's funny. It's a joke. I'm a friend of Brazilians. I will like when sometimes I do understand that they can get some like harshness. Like I think that sometimes they get a little bit like of an unfair rap sometimes. So I'll try and like be like, hey, you know, maybe that's not all fair. You know, like let's support Brazilian CS. Like I'm really excited for like these young guys. And it's that good. It's that balance of like, I'm going to absolutely poke you. I want to get that reaction of you. I want you to call me a Caralho. I want you to do everything. But at the same time, like when shit gets serious, like I'm going to like, I know fair is fair. I know where fair is. I know where the line is. And that's how I tell it.
Yeah. And I think it's fine. You know, I think it's part of the whole game. It's part of what we do. It's part of the competition, you know, the hot blood, you know, but I do think specifically between North American teams and Brazilian fans, which have this unique relationship because obviously Brazilian and South American teams play in North American competitions. You know, that's really where this began. And, you know, there's this translation issue where I think like people like you might joke about how MIBR sucks or something, which again, it's a joke. Let's be very clear.
Right.
I think MIBR
and it's also against the organization. Organizations can't have feelings.
I would never say that TRK sucks or like these guys like they're fucking 1 million times better than me at Counter-Strike. So I'm not gonna say this. They're you know, you have champions on that team. So but if you say like, oh, MIBR sucks, they're like you're obviously joking about the organization, probably for a good reason. And then, you know, I think that somebody that maybe doesn't have a grasp on the fact that you're joking will take it really personally and be like, well, you're an idiot, and you know. And then it's just there's a lot that gets lost in translation, I think, between our two fan bases, you know. But it's fun. Like it's really fun to engage and to be involved in this discussion between Brazil and NA, I guess.
Oh yeah.
But I don't know. Brazilians love Triumph, so whatever we did, I think it's because our coach. I think it's because our coach is Brazilian, and also I think it's because we were like the angel like twin brother of Chaos because you know, obviously the Brazilian fans were hating on Chaos pretty hard and they were eating it up. Steel obviously loved that the Brazilians hated him, and so
he played into it a lot.
Yeah, and so since they were playing into the hate and we were just kind of chilling, everyone kind of like favored us, and we didn't have to do anything. So it's been pretty cool. Yeah, man. So what do you think about opening like an office in Brazil? You ever think about that?
Oh my God. How would I open an office in America first? How would I get that first? Then maybe we can think about expanding. I have actually wanted to try and get Brazilian writers. I thought about one guy who I wanted to do, but I just never continued. It was like at a bad time and everything, but he, what's his name? Rawls. He's super smart. He's a super great kid. He's always on top of the Brazilian scene. So this is my shout out to him. I wanted him to be part of it, but he got picked up by another like news outlet. And I was just like, you know what, just go for it. Like, I wanted to cover Brazil news. I think it's really interesting and I'd love to do it, but it's just, sometimes it's just like, it's hard to break in when there is the language barrier. You got to know someone who's like fluent in everything. So that way you can make things like really work out with what you're trying to say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I wonder how much untapped potential is in the Brazilian scene because our coach Marcos was telling me like there are teams in Brazil that are just playing in the Brazilian circuits and the South American circuits that are better than half the like most of the MDL teams we have here. And you see teams like Pain coming up right now through the ranks. I think Pain will be an MDL. They're a very talented team. Yeah, there's a huge Brazilian scene. It's just about bridging that gap. So obviously you guys are kind of tasked with trying to do that if possible, being that you're a media outlet. So
yeah, it's really hard. I think trying to find the best teams and being able to talk about them is really hard because when you talk about the unknown teams, no one cares. That's the other really hard part, right? Is that you want to create content that people are going to read and watch and listen to. But if you're doing content that, so it's really hard, right? Because to create the content and to have people listen to the content that you want, there's a very interesting bridge that you have to cross. And I think I personally, I don't know if it's probably common knowledge in a lot of media, like school teaching things. You have to go from, this is the media that I want to create. And then these are the people that I'm trying to bridge. And how do you cross this? Well, if people are naturally wanting to go towards this media, what you have to do is you have to create the third thing of the personality. People want to watch me and listen to me and read my content because of me, because they have an affinity for myself. And the content, if it sucks and it's not something that they want, some of them will still listen and read and watch it because it's me that's producing it. So it's that bridging of where you can kind of start to create little things. I've noticed it a lot when I like tried streaming, because when I stream things, I made a stream about the political election. I did a whole stream about it, and I had like over 100 concurrent viewers, and I was just absolutely having the time of my life, and it was really great. It was a time when people wanted the content, they liked it, and they liked me, and it was a perfect storm, and it was great. Then I did a thing of where I was like, I'm playing Among Us, I'm just hanging with friends, not really doing too much, we're just chilling. I had like 15, 10, 6, like kind of fluctuated between there. But people still watched it because, again, somewhat of me. Doesn't mean that like a lot of people watch it. And I know I like saying this, people are gonna be like, haha, 6 viewers. But I like it, don't care. I don't stream for like a living. But it's like understanding that and how that equation works is really hard. So like if I was gonna talk about NAMDL teams, not a lot of people are gonna care, but there is a core audience out there that would care. So it's trying to find out how I can get people from A to B. That is still something that I'm trying to work through.
Yeah, that's profound knowledge, actually, because that is the case in most like forms of media. I mean, I've seen that just in the last year alone with Triumph. You know, we started in Overwatch. We were really well known for our Overwatch program. It was our first program. And then obviously our CS team started picking up steam and we kind of leaned into CS. But there's a lot of fans that we have to this day, for example, that never watched Counter-Strike before last year. And they loved us. They loved the content that we put out, right? They loved the brand that we had created in Overwatch. And then when we transitioned to focus more on Counter-Strike and Call of Duty, they still stayed our fan and became interested in the Counter-Strike and Call of Duty, right? And it is this sort of this personality. In that example, you would say Triumph is the personality, and it bridges that gap between somebody that's over here and, you know, getting into the stuff on the right. And that is the case, you know. And I think, honestly, like, for what it's worth, that's kind of what my goal is with this show, is to talk to people from all corners of the industry to kind of bridge that gap and, you know, share perspectives. Like, I think, for instance, there's probably, I mean, we don't have the biggest podcast in the world, you know what I mean? Right. It's not like I'm breaking boundaries with this podcast or anything, but, you know, the goal would be like, let's say we have a fan right now that's listening to this podcast who came from maybe the COD competitive community, and they're listening to you talking about, you know, RushB's role in developing the next journos in the CS community. It's like they probably would even give that a single ounce of thought, but it's bridging the gap because of like me and the show or whatever. So, right. Yeah. And I think that you, with like your activeness on social media, like you definitely have that. You have a huge
activist, more like unhealthy obsession with is probably a better descriptor.
Yeah, but it's like I laugh like you. I remember you tweeted one time. I mean, you've done this a few times, bro, but you tweeted something like, I need the dopamine, please get, like, I don't know. It's like you jokingly talk about how, like, please click like, I need the dopamine. It's
like, like to fill my dopamine receptors today. Thanks. Yeah. I'm feeling bad. Need to see red heart go up. Dopamine. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, look, dude, we live in the future, man. The way that we communicate is just different now, but yeah. It's all about trying to bridge the gap and bring people together. And, you know, there's a lot of different ways to do that shit. So what was I going to ask you about? Oh, I was going to ask you about, so today, I'm sure, well, okay, I shouldn't say I'm sure, because I know you've been following IEM Beijing.
Yes.
For those of you guys listening to the show on Tuesday or whenever, maybe, you know, next year, right now, today is Sunday, and we play grand finals of IEM Beijing North America. It's going to be Chaos versus Triumph, a result which everybody expected. And that game is actually happening today. So by the time this show airs, the point is it will have already happened. So I wanted to ask you, like, just on this weekend, as a Counter-Strike aficionado,
yeah,
what's your opinion on how the games have gone this weekend, the upsets that happened, and what do you think is going to happen tonight between Chaos and Triumph?
Oh boy. I think the games have gone pretty interesting. I think that Liquid and EG, I think it's really hard to online is always very interesting. And I think a lot of stuff gets thrown out. I know both coaches. I know MCE and I know Tacticus. I know how well that they can come up with different stuff. And I'm very excited that those guys you guys were able to have these upsets over Liquid and EG. I think that's awesome. I made a tweet about it. I don't want anyone to lose, but seeing the underdogs win in NA gives me so much joy. Like, it makes me so happy when I can, because you can see the hard work that gets put in and you can see the positives that get taken out. I think obviously it's going to go 3 maps. I don't think there's like any, and if it goes 2 maps, it's going to be incredibly close. Like, this isn't a stomping between either of you guys. Both of you are highly, highly competitive. Chaos is 21st in the world, I think, right now. Are you guys top 30?
No, it's a best of 5, like, but yeah, I think we're like 35, but after we beat Liquid, we should be top 30 by.
We should be top 30 come Monday, even regardless of what happens. But it's like, there's a lot of there's the 5 teams that are like really, there are probably like 6 teams that could legitimately be top 30 teams in North America. Legitimately, like EG, Liquid, xCloud9, Chaos, Triumph, and New England Whalers. Like, legitimately could be top 30 teams. And I think it's a lot of the kind of new ingenuity that we're really seeing. I think coming out of quarantine, we've seen a lot more like interesting strats and stuff come up. So what my prediction is going to be, so I'm going to say it's 2-1, and you're going to hate me, but I think Chaos takes it. I hope I'm proven wrong.
Well, maybe it'll start 2-1. Maybe it'll start 2-1. And listeners already know this. Maybe it'll start 2-1, but it is the best of 5. So
it is the best of 5. Oh.
Maybe it'll be 3-2.
Okay, so maybe 3. I think there's 4 maps. Oh, is there an advantage? Is there a map advantage? No? Then it's going to go 4 maps. Yeah. It's going to go 4 maps at a minimum, probably 5. And I think Chaos will take it then.
It's respectable. You're wrong, but it's respectable.
You know what? Listen, if I'm wrong, great. I've already won. Here's the thing that you guys are missing out. I've already won. Triumph and Chaos are in a final. I've already won.
Look, we've already won too.
That can make me sad.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I mean, look, like from our perspective, like I think we came into this weekend not really. I'll use the words of Diego from Whalers when I talked to him last week when he was talking about their upset versus Furia. Like, I feel the same way about us beating Liquid. It's like I was a little bit surprised, but I'm not shocked. You know, like we play these guys, we scrim these guys. Obviously, Grim used to be on our team. We all know each other. You know how this goes. Like we all literally play each other like 5 times a week. So it's not that we were shocked. It's just like kind of unexpected because we went into this weekend knowing that like we have nothing to lose. Right? I don't really know how else to explain that. It's like we didn't really get to practice a lot the last couple of weeks, frankly. So even going into our Team 1 matches, we just kind of were like, well, we've never lost a Team 1 before. So, you know, Marcos, our coach Tacitus, he put in so much work in terms of like prepping and like map reviewing for our opponents and counter-stratting, and it worked out, you know, but we didn't really expect everything to work out this weekend. So yeah, for us, we already won. Even if we lose in the finals, it's like we got further than I think anyone on the team really anticipated, you know, because of how little we practiced the last couple of weeks and how things have been going. And I think Chaos is in the same boat. I mean, I think Chaos has probably more going on behind the scenes than anyone. And I don't think they expected to beat EG. But, you know, these guys, like these teams that have been in power for a long time, you know, your teams like EG, even Liquid, Furia, all these guys are beatable. Like, it's not like these guys are unbeatable. It's just about being, you know, ready when they're not. And I always say this in online CS especially, it's just like whoever shows up more awake and more caffeinated just seems to win. It's like you can show up on any given day and have any given result. These top like 8 teams in NA, like anything can happen. So yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, obviously I already know and I already expect that Triumph will beat Chaos 3-0, but they might get a map on us, dude. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, we're running a little short. I don't actually know what our time is, but I think it's been about an hour. I guess we can wrap it up. I wanted to give you an opportunity, like as we exit and we close the show. You know, is there anything that you want to close with? Is there anything you want to promote? Obviously, we talked a lot about Mustache Masters, but
yeah,
you want to give a shout out.
That's the big one. Just to promote the @Stash Masters on Twitter. Like, this event. I want to promote Darth Mike at Darth Mike. I want to promote Pluro at Pal Palic. I want to promote Griffin at Good Griffin. Like those guys, my co-founders are just incredible people. And to put on an event and to raise more money than I could possibly imagine has been an incredible experience. And I'm overjoyed that we were able to raise over $26,000. So support Movember, talk about mental health, talk to your friends, talk to your family, let people know that it's okay to not be okay.
Yeah, beautiful stuff, man. Like I have a lot of respect for the guys, like the work you guys are doing. And I'm not joking when I say that. I really love it, man. And thanks to everything that you guys do, Movember and everything will be in our description box below our YouTube video. Obviously, we're on a lot of different platforms. So if you guys are listening somewhere else, go check out the YouTube links. I'm going to follow up with you, man, and I'm going to hold you to it next year. Yeah. We're going to see you guys raise $50,000. I want to see it, man.
All right. It's a challenge. It's on.
It's on, dude. So I appreciate you joining me today, Ryan. Thank you so much for your time. It was a blast talking to you, man. And I will talk to you very soon.